What is going on? We're going to talk about driving today. I want to welcome you in. Some of the most important things I need all of you to remember is safe driving practices. When you set up goals for yourself, personal goals, you will be successful. And it takes time, it takes a lot of practice, and a lot of comments I read, well, how do I do this? How do I do that? You have to practice. The thing that I see a lot of times with new drivers, they don't have someone that can take the time with them to encourage them to be successful. And when you are successful, you're going to develop repetition over and over and over. Let me go ahead and activate this chat. I want to welcome all of you in and say hello. Um, some of the most important things are is learning how to steer, learning how to feel comfortable, making right and left turns. There are different ways to turn the steering wheel. We know that hand over hand steering is safe and convenient, but also there's an airbag in the middle. And different locations do different things. Some people do hand over hand, where your hands are crossing over the airbag. There's no absolute best way to turn the steering wheel. It depends on how you learn, what you learn. There is a 9 and 3, there's a 10 and 2, and the new one is from AAA, and that is 7 and 5. So you have to decide what method works best for you. How do you become more proficient in turning the steering wheel, and then be consistent? Consistency comes with you practicing. Typically, I take adult clients into the neighborhoods. We make 12 right turns, 12 left turns. I'm looking for consistency and control on the steering wheel. I'm looking for you to look left, look middle, look right. Those things are very important. I'm also looking for you to squeeze the brake and use the ball of your foot. When you use the ball of your foot, you're going to have more control. Some students, if this is your brake, they have their foot all the way to one side. So when you squeeze the brake, you don't have a lot of leverage. So you want to have your foot in the middle of the brake and use the ball of your foot to gently squeeze the brakes. Let's talk about observation skills. A lot of adults, as well as beginners, look down. And if you're looking down at the steering wheel or at your speedometer, you won't be able to see where you're going. So it's important that you learn to look up, aim high, and look ahead as far as possible. That is extremely important that you are consistent, that you're comfortable, and that you develop best practice. Next, going through neighborhoods. We know the speed limit there is 25 miles an hour, but I like to see students drive 17 or 15 miles an hour. We're looking for kids, we're looking for people backing up, right? How can you, let's see, how have you been? I'm doing good. Um, I'm trying to get better. Just enjoying the holiday. Pretty soon we're going to be coming up with a podcast. Some of my equipment came today. The microphones came today. We're going to get the Rodecaster Pro 2. Really excited about that. So we're going to be interviewing some people from around the country, around the world, talking about driving. If you have a certain name, type it into the chat. I'm going to try to keep it a surprise to make sure that we have a good name. And overall, I have about 5,000 pieces of content. I did hit 2 million views on the YouTube channel. So that's an accomplishment, but it's about you. It's not about me. I'm at 6,400 subscribers. So again, I want to keep producing good content. I'm hitting shorts right now. I want to do some more long form content, 3 minute, 5 minute, 7 minute, to really uh, show consistent driving. I'm going to integrate some other things in there. Thank you for the thumbs up. But I'm really enjoying the break, recharging, uh, teaching teens and adults how to drive. And I think once the podcast comes, that's just going to enhance my reach. I can go on different platforms. I can do shorts. I can do uh, TikToks. I can do reels. So that's going to add a lot of value, I think. And there are some good friends of mine who are instructors, and I want to interview them, get their best practices, get their ideas. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I've been waiting a long time to do this. But once I get the equipment and set it up, it's really going to be exciting. So I'm looking for all of you across most platforms. Is driving with Myles. So it's got to have something with Myles in there. So I'm gonna look for you guys to give me some ideas. I'm going through my phone right now. I can't get the laptop to work, so we won't make excuses. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. But overall, I think just getting students ready for 2023. It's very cold here in North America. We had a lot of snow, so that does get a little bit of a challenge. You want to keep your windows clean on your car, wipe off your headlights and tail lights, clean that windshield, clean the back windows so you can see. Drivers have been driving extremely well, doing parallel parking, right turns, left turns, lane changing. So that has been really good. I've had a lot of positive comments. Can you explain to people how you drive through the snow and what it's like? Definitely. You want to reduce your speed. You want to make sure you feel your tires connect with the pavement because if you're spinning on top of the snow, you're going to end up fishtailing the car, putting the car into the ditch. You want to drive at a good speed that allows you to not slide when you hit the brakes or not slide when you hit the accelerator. Usually, a lot of cars are front wheel drive. You want to have some weight in the back, some sandbags, maybe some kitty litter, because with kitty litter, if you get stuck, you can put it on the tires to give you traction. So, 15 to 20 miles an hour now. In Buffalo, New York, that's a whole new animal. They have shut down the whole area. But for here, where we are, 3 inches, 5 inches, you want to drive slow, warm your car up, make sure your windshield wipers are good, uh, dress warmly in case you get stuck, have a tow rope in case you get stuck, and then make sure you have a good battery. So drive slower, take your time, and you might want to wait till the plow trucks go out to plow off some of those streets. I do have a good video about winter driving. I happened to get out there and had the GoPro on. So I think you should definitely look that up on winter driving. Keep the questions coming. Um, Driving has been very consistent for me. Really teaching teens and adults how to drive is very rewarding. So a lot of this content I make for you, not me. And I'm learning as I go on to make better content. Thank you. I passed my test. That's good. That makes me feel really good. Can you explain how people drive? Okay, when you pass your test, that's just the first step. You got to continue to get better every day. Um, Me growing as an instructor, I listen to my students. A lot of times, people are very impatient. They cut us off. They tailgate us. Um, Typically, Ken and Karens. Um, that's a new term to me, but I try to teach my students to be patient, to take their time, to really uh, understand the environment that we're in. And during the Christmas holiday, people are very impatient. During the summer, they're very impatient. More people are impatient. More people will tailgate us, cut us off. We had one young lady when my student was making this right turn. He went into the turn kind of slow. She almost rear-ended us. She cut over to the left and then brake checked us. Then she was going to make a right turn and she put up her middle finger. So I'm saying to myself, wow, that's a young lady doing that, and that's where we are in 2022. But you can't get mad. You've got to stay composed and learn from those valuable lessons. And I try to teach my students to have good space. Don't tailgate. Take your time. Be patient. Go ahead and ask some more questions. The snow question was really good. Take your time. Leave early. Wipe off the car. Get an ice scraper, snow scraper. Clean off the car. Warm the car up. Make sure you have at least a half a tank of gas. Make sure you have jumper cables. I had to warm up the driver's head car because I wanted to make sure it would start. If your car sits more than a week, the battery will definitely go down. The summertime is very hard on batteries, and the wintertime when the temperature drops. So make sure your car is warmed every couple of days, warming up for 5 to 10 minutes. Get that battery charged up. Make sure you have your safety equipment, jumper cables, tow rope, excuse me, windshield washer fluid in there because you're going to be using a lot of that. And, if you can't see, go to a gas station, use that squeegee, wipe off your headlights, wipe off your tail lights, your side window, so you can see. Let people know where you're going because that's important in case you get stranded, you're late coming home. Call your loved ones because, many of you are grown. You're, 16, 17, 18, 19. Call your parents. Let them know, hey, mom and dad, traffic is really slow. Um, I'll be back in about 45 minutes. I know I said 10 because parents do worry. I'm a parent too, and my son is down in Texas. Uh, you know, daughters, you know, in another area. So tell people where you are in case you have a breakdown, you get lost, there's a detour. Make sure your tires are in good shape. And if they're, put a cord in there, and if you can't see the head of Washington, you might want to get those tires replaced. It's always in the wintertime when your windshield wiper blades don't work, they'll just streak and smear. So make sure you have good windshield wiper blades you can buy a set for $10, 15, 20, 30, 40. But get a good set of wiper blades. If this is bringing you value, give it a thumbs up. Um, top off your gas if possible. Have an extra set of shoes, jeans, a nice coat, gloves, a hat. Because if you get stranded, you're going to have to make a decision. Do I stay in the car or do I make a decision and leave the vehicle? And then maybe a mile away, you can get up onto the main roads to the gas station. They're not uh, pay phones out there anymore, right? Most people have cell phones, so bring that extra battery charger with you. Make sure your phone is charged up. That's really important, and that will definitely help prepare you. I see a lot of times parents or older brothers and sisters are putting a lot of pressure on you to get into a driver's ed program. You have to get in when you're ready, and you have to do it for you. You can't do it for your instructor. You can't do it for your parents because you're going to be the one driving. Excuse me. You're going to be the one driving that vehicle, and you've got to do it for you. And if you have a lot of people pushing you, hey, finish this up, do this, everyone is the individual. What I find a lot of late teens, 18, 19, are waiting, in upper 20s, are waiting to take driver's ed. The next thing I know, making that commitment to time. Uh, it takes about 6 weeks for me to drive about 20 kids. I do driving on the weekends, some driving during the week. That includes some night driving, so you want to mix it up. We try to avoid rush hour, that peak rush hour in the morning, that 6:30 to about 8:30, and then in the evening, say a 4:30 to 6:30. So you want to drive during off-peak hours to give yourself a chance to get comfortable with the traffic. You might want to have your older brother or sister with you, your mom or dad. Everyone's a little bit different. Most students prefer to have their dads with them, more chill, more relaxed. Moms tend to be a little bit more critical. Uh, but you have to decide who gives you that balance, who is giving you that comfort. No backseat driving. Whoever's in the front, that's your co-pilot. And you want to go in a variety of areas, a country rural area, a downtown driving area, a light urban area. Downtown areas are good for parallel parking, where you're lining your vehicle up, you roll back, you turn your wheels hand over hand to the right, the rear goes on at a 45, and then you turn back. Certain states, our state requires parallel parking. You have to know how to parallel park. And that's one of the biggest area where students fail is parallel parking. Next, four-way stops. If you don't come to a complete stop for 3 seconds to look left, right, left, you're going to roll through that stop sign. That is automatic failure. A lot of things I see, left-hand turns. They're the most dangerous maneuver because you're turning in front of oncoming traffic. So you want to be aware of you turning in front of oncoming traffic. You want to know which lane you're going to go into. I always try to teach my students, you're coming up to the middle, you're making that 90-degree turn. I want to see you look through the turn and look where you're going. Accelerate through. A lot of teens and adults tend to hit that brake or hit the gas really hard and the car jerks. Merging on the expressway, I'm kind of going around just pulling some things out. You got questions asked. Going on the expressway, a lot of beginners tend to go too slow. Okay, we have traffic coming from Canada, traffic coming from Chicago, and if you merge out at a 35 or 40, we're just going to get ran over or cut off or pushed off to the side. So you got to build up on that ramp, accelerate up to speed, and get out there and try to blend in traffic as soon as possible. You really want to work on parking maneuvers. Go to your school, go to your college, and spend 25 to 30 minutes driving around that circle drive, having that complete stop where you're looking left, right, left. Practice pulling in, stall parking, practice reversing out, turn your wheel to the left, the rear will go to the left, the front will swing out to the right. You want to park consistently because if you park to one side, your door is going to get hit. People will take a picture and post you on Instagram, right? They always are looking for failures, but it takes work and it takes up to 10 years to become a master at that skill. And each year you grow, you will get better, and you have to have someone who's going to be really positive, really supportive, and understand that you're going to make small mistakes. A small mistake might be going too slow, maybe a little too fast, maybe looking over the wrong shoulder. If I tell you to make a lane change to the left, and this is my left, you look over your right shoulder. I have dual mirrors in the car. We have the driver's side mirror, and then I have one on my side. I don't have a steering wheel. A lot of people have asked me, "Hey, do you have a steering wheel in the car?" I'm young, but I'm not that old yet. But no, we don't have a steering wheel. I do have a brake on the passenger side, and it's usually a cable. And if I hit that cable too hard, I'm going to snap the cable. So you want to squeeze really easy. You want to give confidence to your drivers. You want to encourage them to be consistent, build independence. I've had some 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. One young man paid for his whole segment one because he was actually about 19 and he did not get a certificate because he was 19, but he wanted to go through the 6 lessons, learn how to drive, and then he was going to take his road test. So I thought that was, really cool. A lot of things I've seen. I'm looking for consistency. I'll take you in the downtown area, downtown Chicago, downtown Detroit, and really see you blend in with that traffic, not get overwhelmed, take your time, be patient, really connect. And then once I see you feel comfortable, we'll get on the expressway and I'll see you get up to speed 55, 65, or 70. I try to get you into the middle lane. The middle lane is the smoother lane. If you're to the right, you're going to end up getting cut off by trucks and cars merging on. So we either have to speed up to increase our distance or slow down and let them come in front of us. Um, Cloverleafs, that's that really long curve. If you go in too fast, you're going to slide off into the ditch. I've been there a couple of times. Or if you go too slow at the bottom of the cloverleaf and cars are going 60, 70, 80, you're going to end up really becoming tailgated, and then cars will have to swerve out of your way. Good instructors really plan ahead. They figure their routes out, a certain number of right turns, a certain number of left turns, some curvy roads, uh, downhill roads where you have to control your vehicle by not riding your brakes but having good speed control. A certain number of left hand turns. I like anywhere from 4 to 12 right turns, 4 to 12 left turns. Wear a thin sole shoe. Don't wear a really thick sole shoe like Vans. Not against skating, but Vans are really thick. Converse have a pretty good sole where you can feel the gas, feel the brake. A lot of people wear Uggs. Those are pretty good too with that sport mode. Um, you want to pivot your foot between the brake and gas. The brake's in the middle. You put your left foot to the dead pedal, and that's where you rest. So we want to pivot our foot. In America, 90% of the time we have automatics. In Europe, UK, Australia, they have manuals, and I do know how to drive a manual too, and they're pretty fun. Adds a little bit more complexity to driving, but overall, driving is driving. In America, we drive on the right. In the UK and Australia, I believe they drive on the left. Um, and then just being consistent. If your parents don't have time, then you need to find someone to get you that repetition over and over and over. Driving 6 lessons, 5 lessons is just not enough. And it really you learn over time, and you will get better over time. Um, and just being consistent throughout your experience. And then you want to try to find that job, stack up your money, and then try to find a vehicle that will fit you. You want a mid-sized vehicle. You want to have more metal around you to protect you. And here's some other tips I just wanted to share with you to help you. So we're going to take a look at some of these. Night driving. It's more difficult to drive at night, so you want to make sure your windows are clean. If they're dirty or there's a film on there, you're going to get a lot of glare. So you want to clean those windows. Um, don't drive if you're too tired, because if you drive tired, you're more apt to go overspeed, underspeed. We saw a driver kind of drifting to the left, drifting to the right. Um, so that's really important. You want to definitely get out at night. It's more peaceful, it's more relaxing, but it's also very challenging because you have to learn how to see at night. But you do need to drive at night in most states around uh, the United States or most provinces. You have to be able to drive at night. So that's important. Keep your windshield clean. I just spoke on that. Be alert for other drivers because they'll just pull out in front of you. And you want to have your vision checked regularly. I'm a state certified instructor, so every 2 years I have to have a vision test, complete physical, and most DNV offices you do have to take an eye test. Let's talk about obeying the speed limit. Pay attention to your speedometer, but don't stare. I'm going to look down. That's what beginning drivers do. Don't stare at the speedometer. Use the 3-second rule when following. You want to pick a stationary object, 1001, 1002, 1003. Next, you want to talk about the importance of the speed limit. That's really important. Adverse weather, snow, ice, rain, fog, all of these things are adverse weather. You want to drive at a speed that is safe for the speed limit. Most states have a basic speed law where you have to slow down and drive at a safe speed. High beam lights are good, but if you have your high beam lights on during snow or fog, those high beams will reflect because of the snow and fog particles. Left hand turns, we've talked about left hand turns. Stress the importance of turning and give the other drivers warning. You have to have your blinker on. You have to make sure there's a gap. A gap is the space. You want to turn after the car passes you and there's room to make a safe turn. A lot of beginning drivers overturn. You're going to go in the left lane, automatic failure. You will scare your parents. They don't have a brake. I do. Um, you want to use your signal. You want to signal in advance. If you signal too late, people don't have a time to react. If you signal too early, you confuse. So beginning drivers, you have to learn timing. 100 feet, a half a block. Um, Blind spots. My blind spot is here to my left and here to my right. I have to look over my shoulder to check my blind spot. And a lot of beginning drivers overturn the wheel. I appreciate that. I appreciate. Can you explain to people how people drive through the snow? You want to reduce your speed some, go a little bit slower. Um, and a lot of beginning drivers tend to go too slow or too fast. So you want to learn to gradually push that throttle. We talked about blind spots. You're going to check over your shoulder. You want to put your chin to your shoulders, call that head check. Okay. You don't have to look totally over and go off the road, but you just want to check. Okay. Good questions. Let's talk about the graduated license. Most states, most locations have a graduated license. Your parents, your older brother, sister should be setting a good example. If they're speeding through the neighborhood, cutting people off at school, you're going to learn some of those behaviors. I'd like to see students, teens, adults drive at a speed that is safe and reasonable. Believe it or not, people do drive at the speed limit and they do make good decisions. You want to create a written agreement. One of my students, his parents have a Tesla. If he has straight A's, he's going to get a chance to drive that. So maybe have some of those agreements. Don't rely on driver's education. Your parents, your older brother or sister, your family members have to step up. I'm the first step. Okay, get it? Step up. But you have to step up, and someone's got to be consistent and help you. You want to limit the number of passengers in your car because the more passengers you have, there is a percentage, and the more passengers you have, the more distracted you will be. So most states, provinces limit the number of passengers. Know how many passengers you're allowed in your vehicle. More teen drivers equal more risk. Okay, never drive distracted. Let's talk about choosing a driving school. Really important. You want to talk to an adult and talk to different driving schools. Do they do online? Do they do in person? Are the instructors certified? I am certified. Every 2 years, I have to take a test, and I have a driver's license number, and it's there in the state. Okay, and I feel proud about that, and I'm honored. I'm humble because that can be taken away at any time. If I get into a crash or get speeding tickets, I can lose that endorsement. Ask questions. If you don't understand and they're not answering the phone, you need to ask questions because there's a shortage of driving instructors. I'm letting you know this. I could drive every day for the next 50 years and I wouldn't be able to finish all the students. I drive about 20 students every 6 weeks. I could do about 26, but that's about my max. I'm a school teacher. I teach. I do online driver's education in the evening, and I drive on the weekend. So I try to stay current, stay consistent, relax. This is a lifelong skill, learning how to drive. This is not something, okay, honey, hurry up, hurry up. No, every day you should be talking to your instructor. How did I do today? Well, you had good speed control, but then you cut the turn too short. You went over the curb. Oh, or you stop in the middle of your turn, and then your instructor's checking the mirror, and a truck is coming. So you want to have the honest conversation, and I've learned to be honest and consistent with my students. This is a lifelong skill. If you're tense and nervous, it's going to be harder to focus, right? So practice should only be done when there's consideration between the driver and the instructor. Prioritize these questions. What curriculum do you use? We use the state certified curriculum. Most schools do, but every state is a little bit different. You can pull different pieces from your state curriculum, international curriculum. I try to mix it up. How many classrooms or behind the wheels are offered? It depends on how many instructors they have. You could be a one-person driving school, but you got to limit the number of students. You can't do 60 kids because you can't get them done. There's a time limit. Do they offer parent and guardian seminars? Yes. Not at the location I'm at now, but parents need to be updated. They need to know how to train you because if mom is in your ear in the back and dad's saying go, you're going to stop, right? You helped me a lot. I passed my test. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks for paying. That means a lot. Thank you so much. Drop a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribing. I'm just going to do some. I'm almost done. So, teen and passengers, set strict limits. Keep the phone off and always wear your seatbelt. Have on that seatbelt because I don't want to go to any of your funerals. I don't want to see anything that, hey, my student was in an accident. Don't be the scapegoat. Devise a plan so your team could talk to someone. And I think communication is really important. Manage the merge. That's one of the most difficult things because student drivers freeze up. And then I see a truck coming, I see a car coming, so I got to get you to pep up, get on that gas, and get up to speed. You want to choose one lane, merge into that nearest lane, the lane to the right, build up your speed, 45, 50, 52, 57, and then boom, you're up to 60, right? Keep up with the flow of the traffic. Good instructors are consistent, and I try to get you on 4 to 8 times, many merges, exits as possible. That's really important. Look around, check. Remember, your teen you want to tell them early to exit early. A lot of adults will say, get off right here. And you're like, I'm in the left lane. I can't get over in time. So you want to signal early. Make sure you know the proper lanes to get into. Roundabouts. I've had a lot of questions about this. You want to yield to traffic already in the roundabout. You want to take your time, yield, go slow, check left, check right, because roundabouts are becoming more of a part of driver's education, road tests, so you have to know what to do. Anytime I can get a student into a roundabout, yield. I want to see you look left, right, left. There's your gap. You get in. If you're going straight, you go straight through. If you're turning right, I want to see that right blinker on down. I'm going to see you looking at checking. And then you got to watch for pedestrians too. Avoid driving next to oversized vehicles, right? You make high quality content. I'm trying. Thank you. And I'm trying some other things. And I want to keep growing as a content creator because I appreciate all of you. And without all of you, I wouldn't be where I am. And I made some promises tonight. I wanted to come online. The other computer wasn't working. I got my phone up here. And if this can bring you value, drop a thumbs up. I got a few other things. So the roundabouts, in a roundabout, do not try to change lanes in a roundabout. Go slower. Take your time, right? If you're going in too fast into a roundabout, some people don't stop or some people don't signal. So you have to look. You're looking for blinkers. You're looking for signals. You're looking for people looking. Look where they need to go. Proceed through the appropriate exit, signal, and exit lane. Okay? And tailgating. Know your speed limit. A lot of beginning drivers are either very slow when a light turns green, they're really slow coming off, and then they hit the gas and try to chase other cars. You want to go in gradually on the gas pedal, gradually pick up speed. Now, every driver's air car is different. We're in the OG Impala. I've driven a Kia before the Kia boys, right? Joke. I've driven a Grand Prix. So I'm a larger guy. I'm 6'4", 280, former college football player. So you want to be comfortable. A mid-sized vehicle is very important. You want to be cool and calm. If you're stressed, then you won't really be focused. Do not intimidate or tailgate other drivers. You want to have good, safe driving practices. Guys and ladies, I want to say thank you. If this brought you value, give it a thumbs up, share with your friends. I appreciate you, and I'm going to continue to get better. Bye, guys.